Welcome to today's video where we are starting bright and early at Yashio Factory. I'm one of the boys today, I'm an apprentice. We're getting started into the S15. I wish we had another set of hands to film how insanely chaotic it was to get my S15 in here. We had to use a combination of like the jack and two people trying to move that wheel while we backed it off the truck all the way in through here on the angle into here. And don't worry, this oil leak is not from me, by the way. That's from the previous car that was on there. But yeah, you can clearly see there's a problem. Full angle on this side straight. So if you missed yesterday's video, I highly recommend you go check it out and watch it. But essentially mid-tandem, we were going over and looking at the footage. Mid-tandem, my knuckle broke and I went straight into Okachan. Into his wheel, thank God. I didn't break any of his, like, you know, body or aero parts because he just got it all fixed and painted. But yeah, result was I smashed up my front bumper. All of this went into his wheel right here in this corner and it ripped my bumper off and stuff like that. Not too much bad damage, all things considered, and could have been a lot worse, but yeah. Today's video is sponsored by Dafsky. And if you don't know what Dafsky is, they are an online store dedicated to selling only the sickest and coolest air fresheners for your ride. They have a huge range, so there's something there for everyone, and they start at just $2.99. And I think today we're gonna get Okachan hanging in the Silvia. All right, let's get this bad girl out and get her hanging up. There we go. Now, not only is my car fresh, but as I'm cruising down the highways here in Japan, I got a nice little friend there, and she's gonna be going, nya, nya, the whole way home. So head to dafsky.com and go get yourself some air fresheners for your ride, and make sure you support the companies that support SAMMIT. I would not be able to be doing the things that I'm doing today if it wasn't for companies like Dafsky. So thank you so much, Dafsky, and let's get on with the video. And how we're gonna fix this is we're gonna be taking these knuckles off, seeing if we can still reuse this and just, like, you know, clean it all up and re-weld it to suit the jig for the Yashio Factory knuckles, because these are some weird brand or someone made these and we have no idea who. It was on here from the previous owner and they're super weird acronym. I've said that a lot. So we're doing Yashio Factory knuckles today. We're moving my rack forward as far as we can forward with cutting and shutting the subframe. It's gonna be fun, a cram-packed video. These are all mods that you need to do if you have an S chassis and you want maximum angle with the factory stuff. Also, using JZX90 tie rod ends. It's because they give you this, and that way your tie rods stay straight with the knuckle. If you use the factory ones, they get on like a hella angle and that can cause problems and binding issues. So change to a JZX90 tie rod end. Just make sure you're using S15 tie rods on an S15 because then the thread will match the JZX90 tie rod ends. Little hack for you. Also, you're not gonna be able to get a pin in here when you use the JZX90 one, so just make sure you use a lot of Loctite and constantly check that bolt. So as you guys can see, we've got the knuckles removed and we're already gonna get started on cutting them and everything. You can see we've got a whole bunch of lower arms out because we made a pretty crazy discovery. You can see here that these lower arms, they've installed and welded in this piece here that raises the lower ball joint. And this will explain why I had such weird Ackerman. Which goes against everything I've ever learned about knuckles, because everyone normally wants to lower the knuckle, get a drop knuckle, right, to change the geometry and set it up right. But for some reason they rose the knuckle, which explains why my car would do such weird things when like transitioning and stuff. And we're all kind of like, well, that's why the thing felt so freaking weird. So yeah, there we go. Both sides were done. The rear was never done though, so that's kind of weird. But yeah, so what we're going to do is change the lower arms today as well. Same length, we're keeping the OEM length. They're not going to be longer. That's not many people here in Japan lengthen their lower arms at all. You can see here we actually have a pair of lengthened ones that we took out previously, and we're not going to use these. These are going to go and get recycled because there's no need for lengthened arms. At least that's how everyone in Japan sets up their cars. So yeah, we're going to take these lower arms off, modify this as well as the subframe, and get the rack moved forward. It's going to be a full day, but I hope you guys are excited. I definitely am, because this is finally time that this car is going to feel like all the S chassis that Okachan has that I've driven in. And yeah, up until this point, I've always said that the angle kit on this felt really bizarre. And now I know why. So Okachan is currently working on the knuckle that didn't break, and he's got the bandsaw out, and he's pretty much cutting straight down the line where it was welded onto the bottom of the knuckle. And we lined these knuckles up with his jig completely different. Like it was crazy. So this knuckle, when it was bolted onto the jig before, well, the one that he's cutting now actually, which was on this side, the piece was so long and away from this bolting point and back. Super weird. So I'm really happy that we're obviously doing the knuckles as well, because this is gonna, finally the car's gonna feel like I've been wanting it to this entire time. Because every time I've been jumping in Okachan's cars and driving those, I'm like, it's just, I could do so much more with those cars and throw it in way harder, and it would just love it and hang there at angle. My car was just so weird. So I'm excited. And you can see here just how much shorter these knuckles are and how much further back in these go. Before, it was welded to like here, so it was like out here by like another like 2 centimeters. So they were like still not really that short of a knuckle. And these are obviously much more of a drop too. You can see here that this drops further down too. But man, I'm way too excited. Oh, this car's gonna feel so much better after today. As you guys would have just saw, Okachan is welding the knuckles. Progress update over here is we've removed the subframe. We have like a big bar up there holding and supporting the engine, as well as this here just to give it a little bit more support. You can see like the rack and everything just hanging down there, and I think Yuta's out here scrubbing it clean. It's got to be nice and clean, and then we've got to make some cuts and bolt it in. Well, we've got to bolt it into the jig first before we make any cuts so nothing twists and moves, but whew, we're smashing through this today. Another thing I just found while going over the car is, while we already have the harness here tucked up in this section, it seems in this section the wheel was hitting this and 2 wires have been rubbed through a tiny bit. So I'm going to tape and repair those, and I'm going to zip tie this thing up as high as I can in there. It was sitting down like there, so we'll get that zip tied higher up. Another thing you got to make sure you check on your S chassis. So a bit of an update for you guys. I've got the subframe in the jig right now, and I'm going through and drilling out the rivets in the section that we need to cut and move forward. I wish in Japan they had the little like spot weld rivet drill things. Apparently in Japan, like I looked everywhere in the home centers, they don't have them. So I guess it's maybe something just in like Australia and the States. So I might try and order some off like US Amazon and get them shipped over, because that would be a lifesaver instead of having to drill through the entire thing and replug and weld each hole up. But yeah, regardless, I'm going to keep drilling. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more rivets or spot welds to drill out. And then this will be ready for cutting and moving forward. So I've been doing a terrible job of filming just because I've been focusing on trying to get everything done as quickly as we can so we can have everything finished by today. But we have finished with our lower arms now. So these are the new ones that we're putting on. And compared to my old one here, you can see the ball joint has this like entirely different piece that slots in there that brings it up higher. And this is the OEM ones. And we've just reinforced the bottom there, add that piece across. We didn't lengthen these whatsoever. We got the stopper there that stops the knuckles when we're at full lock from overextending and causing any binding issues. So we are good on both of those. Just waiting for the paint to dry. The knuckles are finished. I'll show you those in a sec. Okachan's still working on moving the rack forward right now. We move it forward 12 millimeters, by the way. So not a heap, but enough. And here's one of the knuckles, all ready to go. So you can see, way shorter and on a much better angle there. So the Ackerman's going to be way better. A whole bunch of thick welds on there. And Okachan uses the TIG over a MIG for these. And he's MIGging obviously that. So I'm so pumped, guys. I cannot wait. Hopefully we'll get this thing all together and we'll be driving this tonight. And then on Tuesday, so only in a couple days now because it's Friday, so like 3 days, we can do a shakedown with this at Gymkhana again and hopefully don't break anything more. Now finished with the subframe, and you can probably see here this has been moved that 12 millimeters forward. Then more pieces were welded in the gaps here to strengthen it up, and then tack weld it all the way back along. That's not going anywhere. I'm actually curious if anyone else has done this kind of mod on their car, how many millimeters was it moved forward? I'm just curious to see. I know some people, what they do is actually remove the welds on these things and modify these and then don't move this section. But here in Japan, it's quite common that people just cut through here and move the whole section forward and then reinforce it on either side. So I'm just kind of curious whether this method gets you further forward or not. Anyways, we're going to set up a time lapse and put everything together. So as you can see, I've pretty much got this whole side back together, but now I'm just taking my time and I'm going over absolutely everything with this pink pen, and essentially you're just leaving a mark on everything. I don't know if you can see that. That way you don't forget to tighten everything, and if something does start backing off, it's very easy for you to see that the lines moved from top to bottom. So I'm just triple checking everything, marking everything up, and then once the other side's back together, pretty much alignment time, but you can already see that this thing has way more angle than it previously did. I'm actually getting a little bit worried about how much I'm going to be hitting my stabilizer, but I mean, if that's going to be the max point, I'm okay with that, as long as the Ackerman and everything else is fixed. But we are going to Golf R, which means it's going to be even wider in the front by like 30 mil, so that'll bring the wheel out further, and we will be able to avoid hitting that stuff there. As well as I can change to a GK Tech stabilizer, which takes this out and makes it level with this, so I might do that in the meantime. I used the GK Tech lower caster arms, tension arms here. They are the best on the market. They don't break, they're strong, they never back off and loosen. They use locking nuts and all that kind of stuff. They're seriously the best tension caster arm you can get for your S chassis and R chassis. I swear by them. Look at all the space here. The thing that my tire hits is my stabilizer. My sway bar, or stabilizer we call it in Japan. So yeah, love these arms. Never had a single problem with them. I've broken tons of other brands of them, and these give you the most clearance for the best bang for buck, and they're the strongest in my opinion too. So the car is pretty much nearly done now, and the amount of angle that this thing has is ridiculous. We'll show you once we got a tire up there and when they're doing the alignment. But a little guest is here. Mayumi's here, and I made a bit of a mistake, and she's going to tell you about it while I get back on the car so we can get this thing rolling.
You told me to come here all the way, and he totally forgot about the curfew that's been happening in Tokyo because we have massive cases of corona.
Yeah.
And he told everyone that we're gonna have yakiniku, but yakiniku place isn't open. So now, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna ask the yakiniku place to make, to fry and make their meat, put it onto rice, and put it on a bento box, which is like, what do you call a bento box?
Like a lunch box.
Yeah, lunch box.
Takeout container.
Takeout container, yeah. And then eat it here. So, kind of getting what we want. It's just a huge oof, Sam. Huge oof. The good news is we got some big updates on this thing. That's gonna like rub on there.
Oh, it's gonna rub everywhere until I get the Golf R and we can bring the wheel and the tire out further. We're gonna have a lot of problems. But the biggest thing is the Ackerman's gonna be correct and everything's ready for me when we do go for the wider body in the front. But yeah, I'm just excited. Like if you have a look, pass me the camera. Look how like pretty this is. No binding whatsoever. Straight, because the rack's so far forward, we don't need any offset spaces whatsoever. Look how straight that is coming into there. That's why we moved the rack forward, guys. So freaking excited to drive this on Tuesday.
Shakedown, shakedown.
Shakedown, yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't burn to the ground. I've been
Don't
to a few
jinx it.
shakedowns. Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Colette's not driving, so it's gonna be okay. Sorry, Colette, we love you. I know you can take a joke there. I mean, she's with Adam, so she's got it right.
We love you. Well, it looks like you got a bit of camber here.
Well, we've always had camber, but we just did an eyeball alignment because we've got to move the car out and then flip it around because the front of the car has to be facing forward to use the alignment machine.
Aren't you proud of me? I know what camber is.
What is camber?
The
Show the feet. Show them. Show them what you just did. No, point down at your feet.
people don't put any voices over that.
That's toe. This is toe. Could also, well, no, caster's this. That's toe. This is
Yeah,
camber.
that's what I went like that.
Okay, well, they couldn't see your chicken arms.
Okay.
Doing some drift stitch repairs on the bumper. I'm surprised that this thing is still held together and that side was totally fine and needed just one zip tie.
Oh, that one.
It's crazy how well drift stitching works. I was talking to Okachan about it. This car is definitely not the cleanest car in the Yashio fleet, but it's okay. He loves the fact that there's a car in the Yashio fleet that's this bottle, which means, how do you explain that word? Like, trash?
Stitched up.
Yeah, beaten up.
Yeah, beaten up, that's it.
I think it's been a while since, like Okachan was saying, it was nostalgic, which means like it brings back memories. It hasn't happened in a while.
Yakiniku.
Yakiniku
The
has
food's
arrived.
here.
Yakiniku.
Well, this is tonight's yakiniku. It looks a little bit different. We do still have an open flame, so it kind of feels right. And if you really want it, you can put it on. Yeah, we can cook the niku here. Yakiniku dekiru. But this is the bento we got from the yakiniku place. Oh, it's taped up. They did a double precaution, not just a rubber band. Let's have a look. Whoa, that looks so good. We got kimchi and everything. Oh yeah, we're going to town on this, boys. Well, it is now alignment time. Okachan got a new fancy machine. Everything's wireless now. I was asking him how much he paid for everything, and it was just like stupid. Like alignment machines, even this kind, are super expensive. And that was still using the initial racks or stays. I don't know what you'd call the bottom section, but the whole weight of the car is literally sitting on that. It's pretty cool. But as you can see, we've got a lot of changes we need to make. But I like this new screen. It's a lot more understanding. That's the word. I don't know. It's late. I've been working all day. I'm definitely feeling it. And at one point, I did a 1 kilometer sprint run with Okachan and Yuta today, and I didn't realize how unfit I was until then. I nearly threw up. I nearly died. So definitely going to be signing up for a gym the moment we can when this whole COVID lockdown's finished. So we're really trying to dial in this alignment and get the camber to almost 0. You can see we're at 0.34, and then toe we're going to completely zero out. This is probably, it's very hard to get exactly 0.0. It's like the tiniest adjustment either way, and it'll be like negative 0.10 or positive 0.10. So this is pretty much 0, and then we're doing the left-hand side on the rear, then we'll switch to the front. But I'm so excited. There actually was 1 degree of camber in the rear, so that's why I guess my tire wear sometimes was always super look like camber wear. So this should really help a lot. Now we're at 0.35. Can't wait. And just quickly, I know a lot of people run toe out in the rear to increase grip, but I was talking to Okachan about it. He really doesn't recommend that. He says try to stick to 0 because that's giving you the maximum mechanical grip possible. When you start messing around with toe in the rear, you're kind of decreasing your mechanical grip, which can cause a few other issues and things to happen. So he just really recommends 0 toe in the rear, and that way you can take full advantage of mechanical grip. Now, just bear in mind, here in Japan, we run nothing but pretty much 265s on the rear on our street drift cars. 265s. That's the cheapest tire size in Japan because they're used for motorsport. So everyone buys heaps of them, so they're the cheapest tire because everyone sells so many of them. The next thing is super soft spring rates and soft damper settings in the rear. The rear end needs to squat, guys. I'm sorry, but I know some people a lot of people are starting to learn this, I think, but a lot of people used to have really stiff and hard rear setups with the front soft. It's actually the other way around. You want the front to be firm and you want the rear to be soft. You want to increase your mechanical grip. So that's pretty much everything that he's taught me, and Yuta is killing it right now. I'm so glad that I'm not down there, honestly. I'm so buggered, but yeah, I'm so grateful, honestly. I cannot wait to feel this thing on Tuesday. Even just driving this thing home, I'm pumped. I can't wait. We are now done with the alignment, and the angle is so good, way better. And I don't know, it's gonna be hard because there's not much space, but the Ackerman is exactly as it is on the rest of Okachan's cars, so I'm really excited to feel this out. We do have a little bit of a problem which we can solve with probably another 5 millimeters of spacers, but we are hitting the stabilizer, the sway bar really bad. Like really bad. We're on there a lot. Like it'll easily go there, and we still have, if we weren't hitting the sway bar, we'd probably get another 5 mil of angle. So if I add maybe another 10 mil of spacers, I think that'll fix it. So I'm gonna order some hub centering spacers, and we should be good. But man, so excited. Just look at this, guys. Boom. Now you could get a little bit more angle, I feel like, if we move the rack further forward and stuff like that, but this is honestly perfect, especially with the 17-inch wheel and stuff like that. Really good. If you're running 18s, you got to start beating out stuffing and worry about tubs and stuff, but with the 17, fits really well. And I still got plenty of room here from the fender in here to add spacers, so we should be good. So currently on our way home now, and the new angle kit feels amazing. Just normal driving, you can tell how different it is. It's definitely obvious that this is going to take a bit for me to get used to, probably like a fair few laps before I get the hang of it, because it definitely like is way more aggressive how it goes to angle. It's like normal, aggressive, crazy angles. So probably take a while to just get the hang of that, but otherwise, just even with normal driving, it's a huge difference, and I cannot wait till the shakedown on Tuesday. So that's pretty much it. We'll wrap things up once we get home. Back home now, guys, and really epic day. We have accomplished so much, and I'm so excited that we'll be able to start shredding that S15 and really just feel the difference having a really well set up angle kit in there. You guys know from the get-go that car, like, while a lot of the engine work and stuff was previously done by Okachan at Yashio Factory, and he had a huge part in it, a lot of all the other parts and stuff were all sponsored and from other different workshops and stuff for the old person who used to drive it. Who, you know, if you guys know a bit of history, Gakudori champion, decided that he had finished and accomplished his dream of drifting and went on to pursue a medical career and becoming a very actually famous surgeon here in Japan. I'm hoping at some point in the future it'd be really cool to catch up with him and do a video. I think it'll be sick. But that aside, so a lot of different like people had hands on that car. So there's been a lot of mystery parts about the car that we've kind of just been going through and fixing and solving. And so it's kind of been a bit of a journey, but I really feel like we're finally getting to the point now where there's not much more that can go wrong with the car. Touch wood, I know, I keep saying that. And things keep going wrong, but I think it's going to be okay from here on out. I don't think there's much else we need to look at on that thing, but I should really shut up and stop saying that. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Smash the like button, write a comment, and subscribe. I'm going to start every second day, every other day uploads from now on as well. I think it's the best way for me to be able to really focus on the brand and focus on some other projects and bigger videos, and really, like, my heart really is to make more quality over quantity. So I hope you guys don't mind. I'll be still here, obviously, still in all the other socials. Make sure you're following me on Twitch for those Twitch streams that we do, and we hang out with you guys and get to play Call of Duty with you and whatnot. But yeah, smash the like button, write a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next vlog. Peace out. Jamata.